Welcome, everyone. This is the Match Grade Podcast, International Edition. Not because Ed's here.
I didn't even think about that, but
Hey, I'm feeling good now. My brain is firing all cylinders. Maybe, I think it's still missing one spark plug. So we're going to talk about the weirdest gun laws that we could find in the world. Now, I know these aren't probably the weirdest, but guys, Ed did some searching, and I tell you, after reading over these, some of these, I can almost see them making sense knowing the country, right? But some of these, I just went, what? No.
yeah. So looking at them, none of these apply in the United States. We're looking globally. And I want to say some of them are cool, and some of them I think
Interesting.
have just been left on the books for too long.
Yeah.
And somebody kind of forgot about them, and we just haven't revisited.
Yeah. You want to know my first thought, though?
Yeah.
We sent over the weirdest gun laws of the world. And I'm like, how could they be weirder than what we have here in New York and some of the other states in the country, right?
Sure, yeah.
They probably look at us and go, wow.
Yep. I mean, there are other states that look at us and go, wow.
Yeah.
But, different strokes for different folks and definitely different countries. And to kind of preface all of this, Dave and I are not attorneys. Rochester Personal Defense is not a governing or entertaining or legal body of any sort. Usual disclaimers and
Definitely
stuff.
not international law attorneys.
No. So this was done, in our own time with our own research. Pretty good sources. But, just bear in mind for all those YouTube armchair commanders who are going to be like, oh
boy.
Yeah.
Well, I heard, and okay, I get it, guys. All right.
And we do want to know what the weirdest gun laws that you guys have heard of
Oh, yeah.
are.
I'm sure you guys will come up with something. You never know.
So start us off, Dave. What do we got for number one?
All right. Number one, right here in our wonderful piece of paper. In Somaliland, you are allowed one handgun, one long gun, and one fully automatic rifle as long as that rifle is a Kalashnikov.
This law, sponsored by
Kalashnikov. Or Kalashnikov's buddy.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. So you can own a handgun, a long gun, but you can also own a fully automatic as long as it's an AK. It's a Kalashnikov variant. Okay.
Which is kind of cool because even internationally, there aren't a whole lot of countries that allow you a fully automatic rifle.
Yeah.
Unless, you got to prove it or there's all kinds of loops and, hoops to jump through.
Or you spend a lot of money with certain people, a lot, recurring, and they just look the other way.
But I'm just wondering, obviously the AK-47 or the AK platform, internationally, I would say is the most popular rifle platform firing system that you're going to have.
The AK-47 or Kalashnikov. It's the world's most popular assault rifle. The Soviets put the gun on a coin. Mozambique put it on their flag.
Maybe not so popular in the U.S., but on an international scale, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you think about what was the attractiveness of the Kalashnikov?
It could take a beating.
It could take a beating, right? It's durable enough to, get some abuse. It was easily made, meaning cheaply made.
Stamped metal and wood, that's it.
But the beauty of it was that darn thing you feed bricks through it, it'll probably shoot them, right? It's crazy. So again, just the ease of manufacture, the economic way it was manufactured made it very popular pretty much everywhere. I think it's hard to go anywhere and not have somebody that's into shooting know what a Kalashnikov is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree.
Yeah. So there's number one, guys.
Everybody knows what an AK-47 is.
Everybody.
Anybody who's ever watched a decent action movie would.
Who's next? Ed, I'll let you do this one.
So, in Germany...
we're going to Germany. Okay.
Going to Germany. Germany's hunting permit is harder to get than most U.S. states' concealed carry permits.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Straight from, Germany, to encourage biodiversity, decrease overhunting, and increase safety, Germany requires a written exam, an oral practical exam, and a marksmanship qualification shooting at both static and moving targets. Holy cow.
I don't know. Some of that I can go, okay, is that a little too much, right? But if you really think about it, what is that process putting out there? Safe hunters who have proven that they can hit something, right? We don't know what the moving target is. Maybe they're shooting at clays. Maybe they're shooting at, deer-like, bear-like 3D targets that are being, moving back and forth across the range. You just got to be able to track and shoot it. We don't know yet. But, it puts out some competent hunters.
Absolutely. I think hunters, certain breed of hunters kind of look at what they've seen on TV and movies, and they just think it's shooting. Like there isn't any stalking involved. There isn't making sure that you get that precise, very merciful, kind of kill shot.
Yeah. Humane hunting is what you really want.
Absolutely.
Right? You're not just trying to hit something and then ground it and then go up there and finish it.
That's exactly right.
It's a waste of the resource.
So I kind of like it. It is a little restrictive in that I'm going to guess it's going to take quite a bit of time, for people to build up to that competency level, not to mention the amount of time it probably takes for both the oral exam and the written exam. But it does ensure you put out some, top quality hunters and you minimize, the chance of any type of safety issues.
To the right!
Here we are at number 3. Until May of 2020. Oh, you went with that time frame?
Sorry.
All right. Well, we're going to roll with it. Until May of 2020, tons of Canada's provincial parks allowed for firearms carry. We're talking about Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. The Canada Northwest, right? The thing up there?
51.
Okay. 51. These same parks banned camping, motorized travel, and certain drugs. But not other drugs? Oh, whatever. But firearms were perfectly fine as long as they were legal. Okay. Interesting.
I'm just going to say one word. Bears.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could really think of. I mean, if you look at the way Canada's cities and, population, they just hang out in lower Canada. So I'm wondering how many of these,
More temperate Canada?
Yeah. I'm wondering how many of these, province parks are like, further up north.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's wilderness and like whatever says.
There's things
goes.
with claws longer than what we can manage, and it'll eat you without thinking about it if it wants to.
Yep.
Yeah. So I understand that part. Trust me. I actually knew a guy who was a guide. He would go out west and he would go up, the North countries into Canada and into Alaska. And he said he's had more than his share of close calls, but he still goes because of the beauty and he's been out thousands of times and he's had a dozen close calls kind of thing, right? So it's the odds, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And he said that his closest one was he had to shoot, I don't remember, a 308 30-06. He was talking about his rifle, and a really large bear decided, I'm going to run you over. And he dropped it probably about 20 yards from where he was standing. And he said, when I got done and I knew it was dead, I sat on the ground and just went, well,
now I need a new pair of trousers.
and probably changed his pants. But he said that was his closest call I've ever had.
Yeah.
He says, I've had other ones that, were a little nervous, but he goes, only a few times have I had to dispatch an animal that was being very aggressive and I knew it wasn't going to stop. All right, so number 4. Ed, I'm going to let you take that one.
All right, so let's take it back to Europe.
Okay.
In Italy, you are allowed to own up to 3 handguns,
Okay.
but an unlimited amount of hunting rifles and shotguns that are specifically calibered for hunting, and only 8 historical or antique firearms.
Well, they don't want you into a collector's.
I guess not. Maybe don't loot the historical sites in Italy.
Yeah.
Looking for your arquebus, or things like that.
Yeah, you got to wonder, like, I'm thinking about that last part about the historical thing. I wonder if, there's probably collectors out there and there's probably a loophole that they figured out. There's a workaround.
See, I was thinking about the hunting
Yeah.
firearms loophole, like rifles and shotguns that are specifically calibered for hunting. You can have an unlimited amount. Okay,
I can hunt with pretty much any rifle caliber I own.
I was going
I
to
wanted
say,
to, right?
I mean, there is a lower limit for certain types of games.
Small game with 22s?
Sure,
Yeah. Want to hunt squirrel? Shoot them with 22 versus, double-eyed buck.
there won't be any squirrel left.
Might see a tail laying around.
Yeah.
And an ear.
But yeah, that's interesting. That I wonder how closely Italy kind of scrutinizes their, this is a hunting caliber, this is a hunting rifle.
They might have a sporting caliber list and a hunting caliber list. Mm-hmm. So, but it's interesting. Yeah, 3 handguns. Okay. Choose wisely.
We'll be out of business.
I'm done. I can't move to Italy. But you can have all the hunting firearms you want. Interesting.
Yeah.
There is no hunting like the hunting of a man. And those who have hunted armed man long enough and like it never really care for anything else thereafter.
Did you come up with that all by yourself?
No, actually. That was Hemingway.
Iceland. They have one of the lengthiest processes for owning a firearm. There are at least 3 categories of permits with a mandatory minimum number of years in between with proof of training. However, 1 in 3 citizens owns at least one firearm, and many have the D category of permits.
So when I was looking at Iceland, they have a couple of different levels. They
Okay.
have A level, B level, C level, D level. And basically, everybody comes in and applies for A level, and that opens you up to small calibers, I think, certain handguns and air guns.
Okay.
And after a mandatory number of years and competency training, you get to have a B level kind of permit, and then so on and so forth going down the
Okay.
line.
I get it.
And then, bigger calibers, concealed carry handguns, and things like that.
Interesting. Yeah. But 1 in 3 citizens owns at least one firearm. Many have the D category permits. So they've all worked up to that level,
Yeah.
which, inverse, but okay. But yeah, they graduated to the D category. So, all right.
30%
It's kind of interesting.
of a population is willing to put in years of work and practice and application in order to own that type of
I think
firearm.
that's a vastly higher percentage than even here.
Of owning firearms?
I
or-
think so. I don't think 30% of Americans own firearms, do they?
I don't know.
I know we'd have to check.
I know per capita it's higher. Like, we do have people like us,
Yeah,
who might
well,
own more than one.
right.
But
We kind of skew the odds a little bit. Maybe, you know what? We'll have to look into it. Somebody look and then chime in below. Man,
Absolutely.
let's put our people to work here. All right, guys. So homework number 1. What's the percentage of gun owners in the U.S.?
comment below.
That's right.
So this is an interesting one. In Japan, toy guns are heavily regulated and require a permit to sell. So
Wow.
yeah,
Just toy guns.
Toy guns,
Okay.
It's to discourage youth from violent tendencies or being
come on.
tempted.
Can't pick up an L-shaped stick and start going pew, pew, pew at your buddies when you're younger?
I guess not. Nobody played cowboys. Well, I guess they wouldn't have cowboys and Indians, in Japan.
No Japanese cowboys?
No Japanese native
Okay.
native Japanese.
I wonder if there's got to be other terms for that.
But there was an interesting follow-up statistic because I was curious about it. I'm
Okay.
like, is it really discouraging violent tendencies in children? And I had to look it up. And I looked up the most played video games in Japan just to see if it's working.
Let me guess. First-person shooters.
No, it actually works. The top 3 sellers in Japan were Super Mario Brothers, Animal Crossing and Genshin Impact, which is, like a team Final Fantasy. Type of game.
Interesting.
Compare that to the US,
Right.
where it's Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto. So,
You know what? I'm not one of those guys that says video games are to blame for violence, but
clearly in other countries it works. I guess if you just don't have access to those type of things, then,
I grew up playing first person shooters, like I think I'm going to go back, but I think like one of my first person shooters was like Duke Nukem.
Oh, I thought you were going to go way back to like Duck Hunt or something.
No, I didn't do that one. Let's see, I played Duke Nukem. Let's see, Half-Life. Played all the variants of that. Mm-hmm. Did some of the Halo stuff. Wolfenstein 3D and the follow-ons. Those were, I tell you, that was fun. Actually, Wolfenstein might have been the first one. But I remember Duke Nukem, and then you look for the little Easter eggs with the hand on the walls. You touch the hand, and something cool happens. And all the sayings. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
So, but I don't think I've got a lot of violent tendencies.
No,
only when provoked. I might respond, but threaten my life. We'll see what happens. That is kind of interesting how they just regulate it right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Now I knew that I've known some people that are from Japan, and I've learned a little bit about the culture and how in Japan, realistically, you're taught from a young age respect. All right. And it's just there's different levels of society and all this other stuff, and it was interesting to hear all of that. And it's like from the minute you could understand something, mm-hmm. you were taught respect.
Absolutely, 100%. And that culture, kind of pervades its way kind of all through the Orient. Growing mm-hmm. up, I was raised exactly the same way. Always honor your elders, bring honor to the family, respect mom and dad, what they tell you. Obviously I was discouraged from firearms. And when I grew older, I kind of swang completely in the other direction.
Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
And such. But yeah, culturally, firearms mm-hmm. are just not a part of everyday life. And you'll be hard pressed to kind of find a toy shop that is willing to, even sell super soakers, that kind of thing.
I'd imagine, yeah. Cool. All right. So this was interesting. In Cambodia, using a water pistol during
the Khmer
New Year celebration can get you jailed. Any type of resemblance to a real firearm during the celebration is banned, depending on your province. Does a super soaker resemble a firearm? I guess it does.
Sort of. I guess if you had the big back tank with the reservoir.
So let me see if I don't know if you dug any deeper on this. What if you're using a water pistol and it's not during the celebration? What happens?
I think you're fine then.
Okay, so it's basically it's just forbidden during the celebration, during that time frame.
The law was kind of funky, but I think the gist of it, if I can get into the spirit of it and make an educated guess, was Khmer New Year celebrations in Cambodia are pretty crazy, pretty nuts.
Okay.
Take Times Square New Year celebration and amp it up to about 20.
All right.
So during that time,
there's some shenanigans is what you're trying to say.
Right. And with law enforcement and police, I don't think there wants to be any misconstrued, chance of anybody carrying a firearm, during that time, celebratory or not. So as a result, they're kind of taking a proactive step forward. And again, it depends from province to province, I'm sure. But yeah, owning a water gun or resembling a firearm during the New Year celebration, big no-no.
Yeah. So if you own one during the year, put it away.
Exactly
right. Any time of the year, put it away, except for you can put it away during the celebration, but any time of the year,
rest of the year,
okay.
You're fine. Yep.
Interesting.
Exactly.
All right, so guys, this next one was kind of cool. I almost wish this mindset were here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we don't want to give them any ideas. So, so hit us with it, Ed.
So in 2015, Norway's cabinet was deadlocked on the definition of what an assault rifle was.
For 2 whole days, they couldn't figure this out.
2 days.
Wow.
So after failing to come to a consensus, they decided to toss the term completely and then just divide rifles into automatic and semi-automatic and bolt rifles, things like that.
So that almost makes sense. Mm-hmm. My thing is, why were they discussing it in the first place? So there's history, right? That's whatever it is. But the fact that they couldn't come up with an actual definition of an assault style weapon or assault weapon, which we all know doesn't exist, right? Okay, good. All right. It was all made up by the media. But they're talking about it and they couldn't come to an agreement. Mm-hmm. Which also tells me that there is no definition for an assault weapon.
My guess is this was a law or something that was on the books, and somebody decided to revisit it, and then somebody else decided to speak up and be like, wait a second.
Yeah. Hold on.
What is the definition of an assault rifle or an assault weapon again? And then I'm guessing the room just erupted with people talking and arguing for 2 days.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure it wasn't people sitting around the table staring at each other trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was pretty contentious. I wouldn't be surprised. There was probably a lot of shouting, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of exasperated people, and then they finally said, "We can't figure it out. Toss it."
Yeah.
We don't have an answer, so there is no answer.
Tell me your definition once more of an assault weapon.
I am not an expert
Right.
with respect to the definition of the assault bans, and so I defer to the experts. I defer to, for example, the definition of an assault weapon that was codified in the prior iteration of the legislation that was in operation when I served as an assistant United States attorney.
Oh, in France. Oh, were we in? No, we haven't been in France yet. Okay, I was thinking of something else. Maybe it was Italy. It's close enough.
Vive la France.
Yeah. So in France, you cannot buy handgun ammunition, even if capable of being fired from a rifle, without the corresponding handgun. So you got to own the handgun to buy the ammo, even if you own the rifle that'll shoot it, like a carbine.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of weird.
Kind of like, how we get around some policies of some stores. It's like, well, you got to have that handgun on your pistol license, or I can't sell that ammo. Well, I've got a carbine that shoots it.
Right.
Okay. Well, they can't argue that. Okay. All handgun ammo is considered category B1, so I cannot buy 357 from a Henry lever action unless I also own a 357 chambered handgun. Okay.
Sounds like a good reason to go out and buy a 357 handgun.
Honestly, I don't see a downside to this. Support the firearms industry, right? Okay. So I got a rifle. Wow, that's cool. You know what? I should probably get a handgun for it. Because it's a matching set, right?
Sure.
Okay.
So my one question comes into being on the 22 long rifle. The name literally has long rifle in it. I don't know how much France is shooting 22, but that seems to be a rifle round that was made for a handgun later, not.
So I'm sure somebody will hit the limits on something. Like they'll try to go, well, I want to buy this handgun ammo, but somebody will know that I don't think there'd be a long gun chambered for this, so you're out of luck, buddy. Or whatever that would be in French. Mm-hmm. Non. All right. Gang, I hope these are kind of opening your eyes a little bit. It's kind of interesting to see some of these little weird laws. So lastly, I'll let you take the last one, Ed. What is it?
So I was very happy with this one. In Switzerland.
Yay, Switzerland.
There is a category called free arms, like bolt action rifles, single shot rolling blocks, that can be purchased by anybody over the age of 18. No permit required.
Cool.
Automatic rifles and sidearms are permitted and allowed with a demonstration of need. What that need is, if it's anything like us, is self-defense, could be sporting, could be, any number of things.
Just because I need it.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that a need? I need it.
I need it. I have a need. I feel the need.
Yeah.
Most firearms training in Switzerland is also free. And then
I've heard about that.
there are just as many gun ranges as there are Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Actually, I might be wrong, but I think the Swiss government puts on the free training classes. I might be wrong, but I remember hearing something.
Well, I know Switzerland does encourage citizen soldiers.
Yes.
Like their average citizen is allowed to, with the proper level of training. So I think for them, yeah, absolutely, the government would provide free training.
Yeah, but for the average civilian, who knows? I don't know.
I really like that. I don't think firearms training should be restrictive in any way.
No.
And it should be open to those who want, that training and want to do,
Well, it's kind of like when I teach one of our pre-licensing courses here, I always kind of throw out the comments like, I honestly don't care why they're here or who they are. The fact that they're here and they want to learn is what I care about.
Yeah. The other thing is, just because you take a training course does not mean you have to go get a gun right away. You decided to take training. You decided to be more educated upon the subject, kind of chipping away at that ignorance, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just what you don't know.
Right.
So I think a lot of people automatically think, hey, I took a gun permit or pre-permit course. Now I'm a gun nut and I'm going to buy 50.
Yeah, right. Look at it this way. So this was actually told to me by a client not too long ago. They were curious about firearms training. They were curious about the process and what is taught in this process, because a few of their neighbors are into firearms. They own firearms, but they didn't. And their main driving reason was so they could have an honest conversation with them with a little bit of educational background.
Yeah.
And in the end, what happened is they thought, well, I'm just going to come and see what they're teaching. I'm gonna immerse myself into this 18 hours of training. And by the end of the class, they're like, I want to go further. They thought they were just going to dip their little toe in the water, but now they're just swimming through the deep end. So we converted another one. But the point is like I understood their reasoning. I want to be able to continue to have conversations that I can participate in, and have information that I could share and we can talk. So that's all it was. They wanted to be able to just to hang out. So they don't want to feel left out of the group. We got them into the group.
I can't think of a better reason,
Why not? Why should anybody be ignorant about firearms safety, firearms training, and firearms in general? That way, you go ahead and make your choice, honestly. If you choose not to, okay, but at least you got enough info to be able to make that decision without the emotional construct.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that if and when you are ready, you don't have to wait another 18 months, in order to...
Yeah, you already got it. You're set.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you never do anything with it, you don't have to worry about it. So, let's, go back to Switzerland. Let's say somebody didn't go through I think if you do have to go through military stuff. I think I don't remember if that's still required or not. But regardless, let's say you didn't go through the military training and you took advantage of the whatever training is available. Hey, you're educating yourself. What harm can come of that? Yep. None. So, well, I think that was kind of cool. It was an interesting trip around the world to look at some of their gun laws. Now, I know, obviously, there's more than 10 countries in the world. Dave, you don't know geography. Yeah, I get this, right? But every country has something slightly different. And, I remember videos of the weirdest, oddest law in each state. right? And going through them, and you're like, what? You can't do that on Thursdays? While eating a banana? You know, like, and you know, driving upside down. Okay, for some reason that law existed because somebody did it and they shouldn't have.
Yep.
Right? In here, these are just different laws based on culture, based on maybe location, like where they are in the world and what threats they may or may not face, or just general outlook towards, you know, their fellow countrymen.
Right. Are they educating? Are they encouraging? Are they, you know, kind of trying to prevent, you know, violence? That's a different approach.
Okay.
You know, so.
Or are they restricting because they don't want you to do anything? I don't know. It all depends. You know, it just depends on the drive for the reasoning. So, like we said, gang, if you happen to know a weird gun law from another country we didn't talk about, or even maybe one additional one or two that on some of the countries we did, why not? Let's go a little deeper. And if somebody happen to know the reasoning behind some of these, it would be interesting to know, like, the history behind it.
That would be a fun story.
Yeah. All right. And, you know, share that with us. Send us some links to where we can do the research. I'll look it up. I wouldn't mind. We're knowledge junkies as well as gun nuts. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so other than that, thanks for joining in on this one. Hopefully you got something out of it. And Ed, you want to take us out?
Be sure to like, send us those comments, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check us on our Patreon. Become a free member, you know, for early access, as well as we check that a little bit more often for comments and feedback than anything else. So there is that.
All right. Let's get out of here.
See you guys.